Hi, thanks for clicking on the link. It's May 5th, Cinco de Mayo. What would you have thought on March 5th, just before the start of WashU's spring break, if someone had told you what the next 2 months were going to be like, and that much of the country would be in lockdown mode for those 2 months? Would you have panicked? I know for me, one of the bad parts of the early days of this involved the not knowing. If someone had given me a date when life would return to something close to normal, even a date in the faraway future, I probably would have been a little less anxious. The not knowing was almost as bad as the worry that I might get sick or that someone I love might get sick. But here we are. Somehow we have survived this for a couple of months now. We still have no idea really how much longer this will last, but as I've gotten more accustomed to living this way, I find I'm a little less concerned about when it's going to end. I'm trying to spend more time thinking about how to live in this reality for as long as it takes. But today is Cinco de Mayo, and in my neighborhood, that means traffic. There's a school just down the block and a big schoolyard behind it, kind of kitty corner from my house. And if you walk across that schoolyard, as I do regularly with my dog, and you go about one more block, you come to a restaurant called Hacienda. Now, normally on May the 5th, you can't get near the place. You also have to watch out for slightly tipsy pedestrians walking along the shoulder of Manchester Road in the dark after one too many or maybe five too many margaritas. Other neighborhood businesses put no parking signs in their lots to keep the Cinco de Mayo crowd from using up all the spaces that their customers might need. But today, those parking lots are mostly empty. Hacienda's probably going to do a decent curbside business, selling some food and margaritas for pickup, but compared to past May 5ths, the celebration is going to be muted, to say the least. Now, in our church on this Cinco de Mayo, we continue to celebrate the great feast of Easter, and to hear about how the church grew in its earliest days and took the news of the risen Christ to every corner of the known world. Like us, those followers of Jesus had just suffered a loss. Now we're locked in our houses due to a virus. They had been scattered by what today's first reading calls the persecution that arose after the stoning of Stephen. We're locked in, they were driven far away to Phoenicia, Cyprus, and Antioch. And today's reading ends this way. It was in Antioch that the disciples were first called Christians. As with us, the world as they knew it had been turned upside down. But they emerged from that experience by becoming what they were called to be. We're in our homes. They were driven far away. But when they arrived at their destination, Antioch, they were recognized as what they were, Christians. Perhaps we can pray to have the same experience. Maybe in this strange world, at this strange time, we'll figure out what it is we're supposed to be. Now, it didn't happen overnight for those disciples. There was pain and loss, suffering, hardship. But when it was over and they found themselves in Antioch, they were recognized and started to be called what they were, Christians. Now, someday, not long from now, we'll be taking our masked faces back to public places. And I hope that even through our masks, people will recognize the same thing about us, that our struggles and fears have helped to form us and have made us, like those early disciples, into people clearly and recognizably as Christians.